To start the exercises in Appendix 1, the basic hand strengthening exercises, you are going to look for the file that I called strip, cut it out, and you are going to put it behind your keys, and it should look like this. Now, for some people, it just doesn't fit quite right behind their keys. It can just be that your printer kind of reduces it a little bit or expands it a little bit. So if it doesn't quite line up correctly, then just make your own strip. All right, so I'm on Appendix 1, exercise number 1. On the top of this line of music, you're going to see the fingering for your right hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 5, 3, 1. And then it shows 1, 3, 5 for a chord. So you're going to put your one finger on C, and you're going to use that fingering. 1, 3, 5. Now this is going to be a little tricky, playing the chord. To play that chord, you have to will these two fingers to rise up a little bit so that we don't play all 5 notes, but just these 3. That's going to take a little bit of doing because these two fingers share a tendon and they do not like to play without each other. They like to play together, but we have to make them. So it's going to feel weird at first and uncomfortable, and you're not going to like it, but trust that you're going to get past this and that will get easier. And let's try it with your left hand now. The fingering for the left hand is below the notes. So you're going to put your 5 finger on the C below middle C right here and try that exercise. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 4, 5, 3, 1, 3, 5. Once again, I'm just lifting the 2 and 4 fingers slightly off the keys. Not so easy to do, takes a while, but that is called a major triad. Triad means a 3-note chord, and we'll talk more about why it's called major later. All right, you're going to do the same with G. You're going to put your one finger on G, and that's why we are using your strip, because you haven't really learned G yet in the pages towards the front of the book. But I'd like you to be able to play these exercises even if you haven't learned the keys. So that's why using the strip is a good idea at the beginning. But if you've had lessons in the past so you don't need the strip, great, you don't have to use it. So once again, I'm going to follow the fingering. It's going to take a while before you can lift that 2 and 4 finger up the way that I did. So just be patient with yourself and be patient with the process. Now the rest of these exercises on appendix page 1 and 2 do not have the fingering, but it's always the same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 5, 3, 1, and then 1, 3, 5 on the chord. D is interesting because it's got a sharp. It's got an F sharp. So instead of playing F, you're going to skip F and go to F sharp like this. Let's go on to the A exercise with your left hand. C sharp. E has 2 sharps, F sharp and G sharp. Now you're only going to be doing 2 of these maybe in 2 weeks, but I'm going to go through them all now so that you can refer back to this video and they'll be all together. B is a little tricky. You can start your 5 finger here, but you're going to quickly notice that when you get to the C sharp, you're going to have to move your hand forward and play B, C sharp right about there, D sharp, E. E, you're playing all the way up you know, maybe even past the middle of the key. In piano, we're constantly going forward and back, forward and back. So don't feel like you have to play the keys towards the edge at all. F sharp on appendix page 2. You can see F sharp only had one white key, and that was B, and all the rest were black keys, starting with F sharp. All right, now we go to the flat keys, and once again, we're going to talk more about why we call an F sharp and not a G flat. Why do we call this a D flat and not a C sharp? But for now, just trust me that generally when we're doing a D flat pentascale, we're going to call it a D flat and not a C sharp, but a D flat. And D flat once again only had one white key, and that was F. E flat is particularly tricky because you've got a black, white, white, black, black. It doesn't seem to be symmetrical in any way, and it's just kind of awkward. But once again, it's going to get easier with time, so don't get too frustrated. Just keep going and trust that you will be able to get it in time. B flat also kind of awkward and asymmetrical, so just give that one some time in practice. And now let's go to F, the last one. You're going to keep practicing all of these pentascale exercise number 1s in all 12 keys. And once you get to the end, go back to the beginning, try them again. And then after you really feel comfortable with them, then go ahead on to exercise number 2 whenever you're ready, when you're done with all of these and you feel pretty comfortable with them.